All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kennedy, for those of you that don't know. And my topic for today is user experience design. Okay. Here are some of the subtopics which we'll be touching on that user experience. First, I'll give you a brief explanation or definition of what user experience design is. Then, some history on user experience design, elements of user experience design, user experience deliverables, testing the designs, and benefits of user experience design. All right. Before we can talk about user experience design, what is user experience? User experience is how a person feels when interfacing with a system. A system doesn't just mean computer systems, it means a product, a service, it even mean a bank or a branch of a bank. How does a user or customer feel when using a branch of a bank? How is he, what is the reception from the security officials at the door? How quick can he get into the bank? How quick can he get into the bank in the sense that how fast does the security door check him and all that? Okay, like I said, the system could be a website, a web application, or desktop software, and in modern context is generally denoted by some form of human-computer interaction. Those who work on user experience are called user experience designers. They study and evaluate how users feel about a system, looking at such things as ease of use, perception of the value of the system, utility, efficiency in performing tasks, and so forth. So now, user experience design. User experience design is the practice of designing products, processes, services, events, etc. with the focus placed on the quality of the user. All right. With the focus placed on the quality of the user experience. Experience design is not driven by a single design discipline. That is, it's not strictly a single design discipline in the sense that not just graphic designers are user experience designers, not just interface designers are user experience designers. Instead, it requires a cross-discipline perspective that considers multiple aspects of the brand, business, environment, experience from product, packaging and retail, environment, even down to the clothing and attitude of the employees. Like I said, what is the reception from the security? Does the security man greet you when you go to the branch of the bank? Does he have a smiley face? Or is he angry? Also, so on and so forth. So a brief history on user experience design. The field of user experience design is a conceptual design discipline and has its roots in human factors and economics. Human factors and economics is a field that since in the late 1940s has focused on the interaction between human users, machine, and the contextual environment to design systems and that address the user experience. With the rapid increase in the number of workplace computers in the early 1990s, user experience started to become a concern of designers. Now, Donald Norman, a professor and researcher in design usability and cognitive science, coined the term user experience and brought it to a wider audience. Experience design is not driven by a single, I said this before. Instead, it requires a cross-disciplinary. Okay, this is Dr. David Norman. He's one who coined the term user experience. He was a cognitive science researcher who was also the first to describe the importance of user-centered design. The notion that design decisions should be based on the needs and wants of the user or customer. Now, the elements of user experience design, visual design. Visual design, also commonly known as graphic design. This deals with the interface design, like how for instance, so the social lender app, how attractive is the interface? How the interface This represents the look and feel of the front end of any images and symbols to convey a message to the audience. All right, information architecture, arts and science of structuring, organizing the information in products and services to usability and findability. You get information about objects. Objects can be from websites to softwares to images, etc. Before you build the product, before you build an app, you get information about how other apps have been working, about how other systems have been working. So you can design, you can see what already works, get information about what already works, so you can design your own product and service. Interaction design. It is well recognized that the component of interaction design is an essential part of user experience design, centering on the interaction between users and products. The goal of interaction design is to create a product that produces an efficient and delightful end user experience by enabling users to achieve their objective in the best way possible. All right. The current high emphasis on user-centered design and the strong focus on enhancing user experience have made interaction designers critical in conceptualizing products to match user expectations and meet standards of the latest user interface patterns and components. Moving forward. Usability. What usability simply means is usability is the extent to which a product can be used by a specified user to achieve specified goals with effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction in a specified context of use. Good usability is essential to a positive user experience, but does not alone guarantee it. Now, accessibility. How accessible is your system? Can social lender be downloaded easily? Can social lender be gotten anywhere? Like, can social lender be accessed through the internet? Things like that. Accessibility of the system describes its ease of reach, use, and understanding. How well can customers understand your interface? In terms of user experience design, it can only be related to the overall comprehensibility of the information and features. It helps shorten the learning curve associated with the system. Accessibility in many contexts can be related to the ease of use for people with disabilities and come under usability. Okay? Now, WCAG compliance. What this means is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.0 covers a wide range of recommendations for making web content more accessible. This makes web content more usable to users in general, making content more usable and readily accessible to all types of users, enhances the user's overall user experience. Now, UX deliverable. That's what UX deliverable means. A user experience designer's main goal is to solve end users' problems, and thus the ability to communicate design to stakeholders and developers is critical to the ultimate success of the design. Okay? Regarding user experience specification documents, these requirements depend on the client or the organization involved in designing the product. Now, the four major deliverables are a title page, the title of the product, what's the name of the product, an introduction to the feature, an explanation of what the product does and how it does it. Wireframes. Wireframe just simply gives you a visual representation of what the end product will look like. For instance, graphic designers can, with Photoshop or Illustrator, make an instance or a prototype of a website before the developers will make it. Developers will code it. So that's what wireframes are. And also a version history. Depending on the type of project, the specification documents can also include flow models, cultural models, personas, user stories, scenarios, and any prior user research. Documenting design decisions in the form of annotated wireframes gives the developer the necessary information they may need to successfully code the project. Testing the design. After the After the user experience designer has designed the interface, or there's a stage where they have to test the design to see what works best. Sometimes they can make 2 or 3 different designs, then put it out for users to test. For instance, a web page might have green buttons. They could do the same web page with red buttons to see how much the users click the buttons, because colors, like it or not, colors also work with psychology. If a user sees a green button, he might click it earlier than a red button. For instance, red means danger, green means go. But I can't really go deep into that now. But usability testing is the most common method used by designers to test their designs. The basic idea behind conducting a usability test is to check whether the design of a product or brand works well with the target users. While carrying out usability testing, 2 things are being tested for: whether the product is successful, and if it is not successful, how can it be improved? While designers are testing, they are testing design and not the user. Also, every design is evolving. The designers carry out usability testing at every stage of the design process. Benefits. Okay, a great user experience design will ensure that the product, website, app, or interface on offer is designed to make the lives of the user as simple as possible. Make sure that they don't have any problems using the software, the system, the bank branch, the product, which can lead to more sales and great customer retention. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, also. Yeah, my question is concerning the user experience. Okay. What about the user experience? Yeah. How do you test user experience for services like banks? And you said like using banks and how do you gauge or how do you test something like that? Well, for example, banks have customer services. If, for instance, you go to the bank, the security man insults you, or he gives you a stink eye, or does something you don't like, you can always walk to the customer service and report. In this case, they are the user experience designers. I don't know if you get. That's why I said it doesn't just stick to a discipline. It doesn't have to be a graphic designer or interface designer. User experience doesn't just. Graphic designers are interface designers. You mentioned something about oh? You mentioned something about yeah. Do you guys use guidelines when you are doing your marketing, your I have not done any user interface for Paycom or anything, but definitely when it's time to do that, I will. What I'm asking is because okay. Like, there's something called Lighthouse. Yeah. So what Lighthouse does is it helps you test your website for a lot of things. SEO, accessibility, and other things. Okay. One of the ways that somebody can do accessibility is by going through the card guidelines. I'm thinking, if you are using the card guidelines for your design, you probably not finish your design of them to get it through to the developer. Because they are usually for the developer. Okay. Noted. Sir, also. Sorry, I can't hear you. can look for alternatives, but I don't think it's they can look for alternatives. Let me just say that they look for alternatives. There's always a solution to problems. Any other questions? Do you have a question? 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 All right, thank you.